But we have not, we're still in the phases of gathering data, making sure it works, and so on and so forth. And I think that it's probably going to have to be localized as well. Because this is something that makes a lot of sense for Brazil. I really don't know if it's going to make sense in China. So maybe, yes, maybe not. So we're going to have to probably use a different, similar but different technology for China.
Yeah, you know, oh,
okay. And in relation to Coca-Cola, that's a lot. It's interesting because a lot of people think of Coca-Cola as this huge global company. And every time I make a discussion to students, I always start like this. Everybody thinks Coca-Cola is this huge, global, multinational company. And I say, this is all wrong. We are not really global, we're a local business. We're not a company. We're a conglomerate of many different companies. And I wouldn't say we're a multinational business. I would say we're a local business that is connected globally. Because it's a lot of regional bottlers that are connected to a network to the whole world. And so we use the strength of networks to make this work.
What about the brand of Coca-Cola? Do you consider it national or do you consider it?
It's global.
I got it.
The Coca-Cola brand is.
Yeah, it's actually, I think some years ago, it was the second most recognizable word. I think the first one was okay, and the second was Coca-Cola, so that tells a lot about brand recognition.
Yeah, it's huge.
Right.
No, I know it's huge, but it's a group of a lot of smaller businesses. When you think of Coca-Cola, you would think that, if I say, what is the, Coca-Cola produces and sells about $500 billion a year, okay, the Coca-Cola system. But the Coca-Cola company only has revenues of only a little above $30 billion. So it's about 6% of the whole output of the company globally. So I think there's a long answer to a short question, but I think that we learn to work in networks and we learn to work with the local community, and that's why I think Coca-Cola has been so successful for all these years. And the world has changed.
We have a totally different landscape.
If you want to
remain successful for the future, we have to do things different.
Thanks, Mark. Very stimulating presentation. Just a couple of very quick reflections. I thought it was very interesting, the slide that you showed where you said that it was seen as something positive that the internet and computers are bringing kids into the house and into the home and working with the computers. Whereas it's almost in contrast to how you view things in Europe and the US, where you're worried about stuff inside the computers and you want to get them out in the open and do some sports and games or whatever. And connected reflection there is, of course, that I'm not so sure if this is going to be good for Brazilian football going forward.
There's a lot of football games online.
My real question was this one. Out of all the interesting data points you mentioned, the one that stood out to me was how many internet cafes did you say were in Brazil?
Yeah, I think
Brazil said 90 million, but I think it's 90,000.
Thank you, because it just didn't pass my son to check in my brain there that every second person in Brazil was running an internet.
I reviewed this presentation like 5 times, but still, this guy was a mistake.
Okay, thank you.
He found a mistake online, so and I reviewed him many times. He can spot things. He can spot things.
We're proofing all the time.
Well, I think what is different is that in Europe, already, kids are at home most of the time. And they're online 24 hours a day. Internet speed is very high, so it is very inviting. In the case of Brazil, it's different. You have to remember that this is the
emerging
middle class. people
came from the lower Manhattan. And they live in areas that are still dangerous in a way. This research you made is
very,
very
very extensive. And
didn't really get all that you have, but when you look at those places that they live, it's one interesting thing. They made their houses very, very comfortable inside. When you look at the houses from the outside, they look very bad, look like that. And the reason for that is because they do not want to call the attention of the people in their neighborhood.
they want to be comfortable life, but they don't want people to know
To their houses
that they're
as comfortable as they are. Okay. So it's a totally different setting. They still want their kids to be home early, not to go out, not to be on the streets, not to meet drug dealers. Those areas. This is something they're going to see an improvement probably. That's probably going to become a problem in the future. But right now, it's more important for them to have their kids home and to be able to watch them than to have home.
I know that the presentation was about Brazil mainly, but do you have information about the rest of the countries in Latin America? Argentina, for example?
Yeah. Okay.
I'm getting jealous here, you know.
The thing well, Argentina, as I said, Marcelo was saying this morning one thing that sometimes each one of us from different countries think our country is very special and very different and very specific. That happens everywhere in the world. And at the end of the day, I mean, we kind of look all the same. Latin America, I always resisted the idea of Latin America. I never felt Latin America about Brazil. But of course, you have a lot in common everywhere. Same thing in Europe. I mean, you probably think, if you're Greek, you're Greek, but you're European. Italian, same thing. Whatever. But there are some characteristics that come because of the places. But still, you have some specific regional differences. We come from when we look at Argentina and we look at Brazil, we need a very in-depth analysis of our entire society right now. So Argentina, as we may remember, was the fifth economy of the world in the 1900s.
And it has lost relative
importance. Okay, that's important in that sense. Argentina reached peak in education several years ago. It is it's still the most educated society in South America.
And the Americans, all of them.
All of the Americans.
All of the Americans. It's more than the U.S. and more than Canada.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So we have 1-0.
Yeah. So in that regard, it's different. So the analysis of our society must be very, very different in that sense, because you don't live exactly the same moment as we do.
The taxi drivers are lawyers.
By the way, you forgot Cuba in terms of education. Latin America, Cuba, they're also very high rate in education. To make it very frank.
But in South America, I'm sure it's the number one education in South America is still in terms of literacy rates and in terms of people with education in colleges and so on and so forth. So
it's totally different. I worked in Argentina for
a couple of years, and it was a very, very interesting experience.
Hiring people from at mid levels was incredible as compared to Brazil. We had a lot better quality in managerial levels. While in top levels it was more difficult to find because a lot of people in Argentina moved out.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's totally different.
The setting, and I would say that probably the answers for Argentina are different. I was going to say something about politics, but I shouldn't. Is it being recorded? So I shouldn't.
Okay, we have time for one last question or comment.
I know why we had a comment.
No, we don't fine. I was just going to add something about Russia.
Yeah, that's about Russia, everybody.